Since 2020, the world's been hit with crisis after crisis, from COVID to Taliban, from the Ukraine war to the Israel Hamas conflict. While the West is juggling these fires, something more calculated is happening in the East. They're literally seizing a golden opportunity. Eastern powers are aggressively stockpiling gold and ramping up their military might. China, Russia, India, and other Asian nations are on a gold buying spree, systematically reducing their dependence on Western controlled financial systems. Meanwhile, military buildups across Asia are reaching unprecedented levels, from China's rapid naval expansion to India's defense modernization, and smaller nations beefing up their arsenals. The East isn't just preparing for the future, they're actively shaping it. The Pentagon's warning of turbulent times ahead might be understating what's really brewing. The West, distracted by multiple conflicts and internal issues, seems to be missing this massive strategic shift happening right under their nose. As per the Economic Times, the Pentagon's 182-page report draws an alarming parallel. China's current military buildup is the largest since Nazi Germany in the 1930s. This isn't just another military assessment, it's a stark warning about history potentially repeating itself. While the US has been pouring resources into the war on terror, counterinsurgency in the Middle East, and supporting Ukraine, China has been systematically building its military might. The PLA isn't just expanding, it's transforming into a force that could potentially decimate the US's capabilities. The global stage looks eerily similar to the 1930s. Regional conflicts in Europe, Middle East tensions, and an Asian power rapidly militarizing. China's buildup isn't happening in isolation. It's empowering other US adversaries like Russia and North Korea. Surprisingly, India is also not far behind. The Indian government continues to approve new funds for new military equipments. A critical point the report makes is about timing. Experts suggest a global conflict could potentially erupt within weeks, not years. This isn't typical Pentagon rhetoric. It represents a fundamental shift in threat assessment. While the US has been fighting yesterday's wars, China, Russia, and India are preparing for tomorrow's. The report essentially admits that American military superiority, long taken for granted, is no longer assured, and NATO allies are falling far behind. This Pentagon report isn't just another military assessment. There's a bigger game being played, where nations aren't just preparing militarily, but also economically, for worst-case scenarios. And Europe? They are standing there like a deer caught in the headlights. The gold rush tells the real story. At the IMF's annual meeting in Washington last October, European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde noted with concern that China has been buying gold like never before and hinted at attempts to push other currencies around. The numbers are staggering. China has brought 316 tons just since the Ukraine war began. They're not alone. Russia, Middle Eastern nations, Central Asian countries, and India are all major buyers. Just recently, India bought approximately 34 tons of gold in Q1 of financial year 25. Even more telling are Poland and Hungary's moves. Poland aims to boost gold to 20% of its reserves, while Hungary just resumed buying after 3 years, citing increasing uncertainty and the need for financial stability. But the rest of Europe? They continue to stay adamant, seemingly blind to both the military and economic preparations happening in the East. Looking at 2025, it's not just about individual crisis anymore. It's about a fundamental power shift, backed by gold reserves and military muscle. The East isn't playing catch-up anymore. They're preparing for the worst, a world war-like scenario. This isn't just about gold or weapons. It's about systematic preparation for a major global shift. And while the East prepares, Europe watches.